Alright, so the prerequisites of this next one is LED project A and B, okay, where we take and figure out the resistance of an LED. You are also going to need to go to the component section and watch LED, potentiometer, and breadboard. Alright, and then you may continue on adventure to the next experiment. Alright, so we're going to go into our second project. Our second project is a continuation from our first project where we took an LED and we tried to figure out the unknown resistance for it. This time we're going to do a little bit more hands-on approach to it and use a potentiometer to figure it out. Okay, so let me draw out the schematic. In this case, we're going to, instead of use the battery symbol, we're going to use plus minus and a bigger like this. I always like it because it looks like a cyclops, a stoic cyclops. And this just represents a power supply, just like what's on the breadboard. Okay, so in this case we have a resistor, but this time it's a potentiometer. Boom. Okay, it's hooked up to positive already. Okay, so it does need to be hooked up to the negative also. Boom. Just like that. Alright, so this is where it gets fun. This comes around, and now we have a schematic that looks like this. Just like that. And instead of the circle, I'll just draw the little arrows. That's another way to handle a light emitting diode or LED. Alright, so this is our second schematic. Alright, looks kind of crazy. Again, this is that first or that middle pin on the potentiometer. It's going over and it's hooking to the positive side of the LED, and the LED is already hooked to the negative. There is two pins on the potentiometer. Again, this one is going to be my positive and negative pin. So it's tied into the negative. Alright, so let's kind of put that together on a breadboard to find out what it looks like. Alright, in this case we're going to destroy our original creation. A little pile of resistors over there. I'm going to use the same green one. Again, this potentiometer is a little fussy with the breadboard, so don't force it. It's just going to sit down in there. And what I would do is keep it so that there is the 3 holes active right here. 2, 3. And those represent, you can see this line, the 3 lines. Those are where those little legs are. Okay, we're going to need some jumper wires, and of course I came super prepared for that. So I get a black one. red one. I think I need 2 blacks, 1 red. And if you ever need to do that, if you've never, so I got a connection here. So you can kind of think of connections like this. So I got a connection there, that's going to be a positive. I got a connection here, that's going to be a negative. And then I got another negative. So I'm going to have 3 negatives and 1 more positive. So dig through the wires. So many. What I personally love is when you run out of them and you end up using like blue ones for black ones and everything else. Alright, so I think I got enough. I might have too many, but that's alright. Alright, so let's look at the schematic and the breadboard side by side so you can get kind of used to doing that. So we'll start with this connection. So we got a positive hook to the potentiometer. Okay, so let's do that. Again, that's that first hole. Boom. So that's what it looks like right there. Okay, so we got our next connection is going to be our negative hooked to the negative side of the potentiometer. So let's do that. So negative on the breadboard, boom, hooking to the negative side of the potentiometer. Remember when you start out with a potentiometer to always go either clockwise or counterclockwise all the way to the one side. So in this case, since the negative is on the bottom, I'm going to go counterclockwise all the way around. Since we are limiting positive in this case. So you can see that we're limiting. If we have too much negative, okay, it's going to be super bright. We want to go this way on the resistor. Okay, so now for an output, I do like a different color wire. So like an orange or a yellow, it just makes it so it's easier to identify. So this is my output. Need my green LED. To save some wires, I'm going to stick the negative in the rail. Like that. And I'm going to attach just like that. And you notice it's not lit up. It's not lit up. Why? Okay, let's turn it. Oh, it's starting to light up. You see that? That little like where it's like blinking. Once it gets to, let's say right about there, it looks safe. It's bright, it looks safe. Now remember not to go all the way, right? Because you don't want to blow it out. So in this case, we started high. We started at 10K. And we went clockwise, and now we need to know the value of it, right? What is the value of that? If we knew the value, couldn't we just now use a regular resistor? We could. Okay, it's pretty bright. I don't know if it was as bright. We could go a little bit further maybe. Maybe right there. Okay, that's pretty bright. Alright, so now we could take it out of circuit. We can't read it in circuit, by the way. But we can take it out of circuit, and then we can hook it up to our multimeter. So again, how do we read these? We hook up one to the middle, and again we are one at the top. And we hook it up to ohms. And look at that. 0.7. So almost okay. Well, of course it was okay, because we had dipped way below that. So remember, we went to I think it was 140 ohms. It was 140 ohms. So we could go a little bit lower. Let's go 200 to be safe. 203. Okay, and we could stick it back in the circuit. Oh yeah, it's much brighter. But you notice that you will not be able to read it in circuit. So if I was to hook the multimeter up to these, maybe move the potentiometer over one, very carefully, providing some points. If I hooked a multimeter up to here and here, you would not get the same reading. Alright, well that is that. It's a very easy circuit. It's very fun to build, and you should now try it with another LED. There's no doubt about it. Okay. I don't know if there's a need for a second version of this, but I'm going to have one, and it's going to be confusing. But what I'm going to do is reverse this process so that the negatives at top and the positives on the bottom. It's going to work again, but it looks a little bit different on a schematic. So we're going to draw a new schematic and show you what that looks like, and then we're going to hook it up. Same circuit, just a little bit backwards.